It's been around 2 months since I last started and finished a book willingly. I want to say it was just school that had me busy, but the bars did too. I'm like so excited to read, and I keep saying I'm excited to read and like telling everybody that I'm about to read, and then I don't.
Could you get up soon? I get so cold in the other room.
Don't mess with Georgia, okay. There is a bug on you. There is a bug on you right now. Do not fret. I saved you. I saved you. Ah, kitty, kitty, kitty. It feels good to be a reader again. Right? Right? Yes, she agrees. It feels good. I'm now over 100 pages into The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings, and it's if Magnolia Parks met with the Ratliff family from season 3 of White Lotus, which makes sense. It's the same author as Magnolia Parks, so of course the writing is similar and the characters have a similar aura. I love Magnolia Parks. I love that so much. It is a 5-star series for me, and so when I saw people reading this and like raving about it, I knew I should read it. I knew it was a contender for this 5-star journey we're going on. Also, I know a lot of people are complaining because this book has deckled edges, and I guess people don't like deckled edges. Where is your whimsy? Why don't you like it? I like it. I think it's kind of cool. And like I'm reading it, I'm like, can you not? Our main character, Georgia, is a professional lie detector. Basically, she can look at people and tell when they're lying, tell what they're thinking a lot of the times. She's like studying like psychology and a whole bunch of like sciencey things to see why people do the things they do, why they act in certain ways, and what mannerisms they have that she can point out and be like, oh, you just did this, I can tell you're lying, or I can tell that this is how you really feel. She's smart and good at reading people. She lives in London now, but she was originally from South Carolina, where she has a very wealthy family that is very similar to the Ratliff family. George's family is conservative and religious and very anti-gay, which is an issue because her brother is gay. She's extremely close to her brother, so it's kind of her and her brother against the rest of the family, which also includes another brother and sister. She prefers to live in London away from everybody, but her dad dies, so she has to come home for his funeral and to get like the will and other things settled. When Georgia returns to the States, she comes face to face with Sam Penny, her brother's AA sponsor. Sam was once this like bad boy, but then he like sobered up and became a sponsor for her brother, and we love him. Like, there's so much to love about the guy, okay? And I've only spent like 100 pages with him. Within the first 100 pages, there's already a little bit of like a mystery going on with what happened in George's past, and you know, they keep referring to a situation and then not telling you what really happened, and you're like, oh, I know I have to keep reading to like learn her past and learn why she is the way that she is, but like, I'm getting kind of impatient. Like, stop bringing it up if you're not going to tell me what happened. The bottom says there are only so many cracks a damaged family can take before it shatters. And there's like a whole bunch of things right here that I haven't gotten to yet. And I'm like 100 pages in, and I'm kind of like, oh. Like, why is it there? Why is it there if I'm 100 pages in? And I haven't read it yet. It's kind of annoying. It appears there's going to be a lot of family drama and some issues with the will. Jessa Hastings is just an incredible writer. Not only is she great at like coming up with like a real story and making the characters feel like real people, it's just so beautiful, and I don't think I've ever like heard someone describe her writing in like a negative way. Like, even if you don't like the plots and don't like how flawed her characters are and how it can be like a character study, but they always can like acknowledge the fact that her writing is good. I really like Georgia. She's very fiery and will always tell you how it is. A lot of people like to come for her brother's sexuality, and she's not afraid to tell them that they're being stupid. I like that. I think that's fun. I think that's really cool, and I'm a fan of confrontation. Anyway, I'm gonna keep reading and I'll keep you updated, and hopefully it will be a 5-star read.
There's a dream weaver that won't let me alone, and it turns my heart into a heavy stone. Look at the maker in the face. Get yourself moving, okay.
I am now 43 3 chapters into the Conditions of Will on page 310, and I do really like it so far. So much time has like passed since I've talked about this book, and it's taking me a while to get through it, but that isn't to say it's bad. I just think some of the pacing is a bit slow, and I've just been occupied doing other things. The reveal as to what was being danced around the whole time did happen, and I don't think it's like shocking in any way, especially in like the context of like today's world. I don't think anybody reading this would be shocked at what happened. This book deals with a lot of hard and serious subjects, but I feel like it's done in like a very respectful way. There's never a point where I'm thinking, that just seems a little off. Like, why would you describe it in this way? I think Jessa Hastings is just good at handling these situations with care. None of it feels like exploitative or like unnecessary. Like, I feel like everything has a purpose. I feel like my emotional intelligence is like going through the roof with this book. I'm learning so much. I mean, the main character is studying psych, but that's not even like what I was thinking like I'm learning from. Like, I'm not actually learning all the phrases that are like psych based in here. She mentions a lot of things that will never quite make sense in my head. But this book allows you to like see what other people are going through, and I feel like can give you more empathy towards other people. Speaking of all the actual like psych terms, I think a lot of that is dragging on. I find those parts to be a little excessive. Like, I know they have a purpose, and I know it like puts you in the mind of Georgia, but it's a bit much. It's a bit much. It really wouldn't be that big of a deal, but I feel like there's just like several paragraphs where she's just like circulating the same information that we already know over and over again, and like thinking about it over and over again. And like, I don't know, I'm kind of like an overthinker, so like I understand that like usually when something is in your mind, you think about it over and over and over again, but reading about it is kind of boring. Maybe boring isn't even the right word. I think it's just like stretching a little too long for me, but that's okay because I actually really like several of the characters, especially Tennyson. I love him. At first I was kind of iffy about him, but the more you spend time with this family and the more you spend time with him specifically and see his conversations with Georgia, the more I'm like, oh wait, I do like him. Like, he's actually really growing on me, and I want a Tennyson book. We're not gonna get it. I'm not gonna like publicly ask for a spin-off of this book because I know that Jessa will post about it and be like, no guys, no. There's also another character in this book that's like in it for like 5 pages, and I've noticed everybody loves him, me included. I was reading about him and I was like, wait, this is very intriguing to me. I really like him. But Jessa said that people need to stop bringing him up because she will never write a book about him. There are people that think Georgia belongs with the guy that I'm talking about right now over the male main character, Sam Penny. Guys, if you're posting about that, Jessa Hastings is gonna be mad and be like, guys, stop bringing him up. That's crazy talk, guys, because I'm meant to be with him. Silly gooses, not Georgia, but me. I have around 150 pages left. How long will it take me to finish this book? Not sure. I usually set a date for myself, but I don't think I'm going to do that this time because I don't know how long it's going to take me. And I just know that if I set a date, I'm going to disappoint myself. So I should probably not do that. Anyway, I was thinking about listening to this audiobook when I'm building Legos. I just bought this beautiful edition of The Princess Bride, and it has really good reviews. Like, I want to listen to it, I think. I love the movie, so like, why not listen to the book? Especially since the guy that wrote this book also wrote the screenplay for the movie. I'm including this in the video because I think it has potential to be like a 5-star read, especially since I love the movie so much. But I will keep you updated on these 2 books, and I'll let you know if they're 5-star reads because I'm hoping they are. I think I've ever read. Wait, that was so good. Guess what? I forgot to plug in my mic. The audio for the next few minutes isn't stellar, but please bear with me. I forgot my camera needed a mic. Anyway, back to regular programming. We have quite a bit to discuss right now, so let's start with The Conditions of Will. I finished it. I'm gonna be really annoying, and I'm gonna rate this book 4.5 stars, which is still a win. Even though it's not like a 5-star read, 4.5 stars is amazing. This book is amazing. I just had like a couple of like nitpicks with it that like really aren't that big of a deal in like the grand scheme of things. But that's kind of what is like holding it from being a 5-star read. Like, I truly think this book is incredible. I think so many people will enjoy this book if they haven't read it already. I liked the ending, and I like all the ideas that these characters feel real and they make a lot of mistakes. stakes. Something I find kind of interesting when it comes to books is that you're reading it, you're getting to know the characters, and you feel like you've been through so much with them, you know so much about them, and you're like, time just flies within this book. But then there will be like a reminder here and there, and they're like, oh, we've only known each other for like a week and a half. Move it a little faster, right? You're what? Move it a little, just a little bit faster. What do you mean you've only known each other for like 3 weeks by the end of the book? What do you mean only like 3 weeks have passed? There were also several things towards the end of the story where there'd be a sentence or two that would just completely take me out of the story, and I'm like, oh, why'd you say that? Like, why was that here? But a lot of these moments were rare. It's not like this was happening all the time. This is really just me being nitpicky. Anyway, I highly recommend this book, especially if you're looking for a standalone. Next up, I want to briefly touch on The Princess Bride. I had to write down what I wanted to say because what I'm about to say is kind of confusing. I checked out an audiobook from the library, and for some reason it was an abridged version, which is so incredibly confusing because a big part of The Princess Bride is that it's an abridged version of a fictional book. So the library had an abridged version of this book, and I looked up, why does my library have an abridged version of the book? And then Reddit was like, it's not an abridged version of the book because The Princess Bride is a fictionally abridged version of a fictional book. So I got the audiobook that said abridged, but I was like, well, this is abridged. Like, the first chapter in the introduction of this book says this is an abridged book. But the library had the wrong version. They had the Audible version, which is only 3 hours long, which doesn't make sense because this is a 400-page book. So trying to find an unabridged version of this abridged book was hard. But I did find a guy reading it on YouTube, and he's actually doing like a fantastic job, like better than some professional audiobooks. His account is Classroom Confidential, and I highly recommend it. I've really enjoyed listening to him read it, and I have been following along with him at certain points, and I mean, it's the same as what's in here. Now let's talk about Beartown. I am 53 pages into it. A lot of the times from the very beginning of a book, I can predict what I'm going to rate it, and I'm not really sure, honestly. The very first chapter and page is like so engaging. It just says that a teenager puts a weapon against another's head and pulls the trigger. And then it says, this is the story of how we got here. Beartown is like, you know what I just realized? One time, I filmed a full vlog and this wasn't like plugged in all the way. I cried. It was the vlog where my granny picked out my reads for a week, and I was like so excited for that video, and then I went to edit it and was like, why does the audio sound like this? It does not sound good. It's because this wasn't plugged in. I'm still upset. My heart is racing. I can't talk right now. I'm sorry. Beartown is a very cold and isolating place where hockey is the main source of entertainment and joy. The high school team is prepping for the finals for the first time in a hot minute and putting loads of pressure on the boys, coaches, and managers. In Beartown, hockey is not just a game, and people are treated accordingly. If you're a good player, you're a saint, so you better not get in the way of their reputation. I am 293 pages into Beartown. When I take book recs from the internet, the only things I really remember is either like good book, bad book, happy book, sad book, like I'm Dr. Seuss or something. And what I was hearing about this book is that it was a good book, but it was kind of sad, but I'm like, oh, like, could it be that sad? Yeah, it can. I think something that's kind of hard about this book is that so much of what happens in this book happens in the real world. It's not just like, oh yeah, it's fiction. Like, the characters themselves are fictional, but the problems aren't. The problems are things that are very real and that a lot of people go through, and that, I think, is what makes it so hard. Sometimes when you read like other genres, you can like separate yourself from the things happening because like a dragon's not gonna come and attack me. I more than likely am not gonna have to worry about my billionaire boyfriend covering something shady up, but the things in this book you might have to worry about. I feel like the more of this book I read, the more I am changed as a person. I wouldn't say I'm feeling like very joyful while reading this book, but I might rate it 5 stars. No, it's definitely not a joyful experience, and you know what? Reading this book really makes me realize that I don't think I'm ready to read A Little Life. That's kind of like a big change in topics, but I know that so many people say that that book is like so heavy and so intense, and you will sob, and this book is really heavy and intense, and I don't know about sobbing, but I have teared up. I think you need to be in like a pretty great spot mentally to read this book and that book, and Maybe check trigger warnings. No, not even maybe. Check trigger warnings. Like, that's probably the best thing to do. But I love to not check those. I think I'm stronger than I am. I really want to be upbeat and happy, but this book is not upbeat and happy. It showcases a lot of the mundane, you know, and it's very much a character study, and I was like, like, there's not really much of a plot to it, and then there is. When thinking about this book in this video and the book I want to read next, I've realized that this has just been reading sad books, and it was unintentionally that. I am making the executive decision that I will be finishing this book tonight. I think I can. Realistically, I think I can. I just need to not interact with my family. This whole book is written in third person, but it follows like 5 different people in each chapter. Like, there's so many people that are followed in this book. You always know someone's thoughts though. Like, he'll write, there's a man sitting in his house feeling sad about this. There's like 1,500 different like people that you're following, but each time you're introduced to someone and there's like, I don't know. It's definitely just interesting and getting to know like what these people are actually thinking and where their mindsets are. You can see that a lot of people are very observant of each other, even if they don't say anything. You know that if someone thinks they did something in secret and only they know about it, truth is another person saw them do it, but they're keeping their mouth shut. Yeah, I'll definitely be reading more Frederick Bachman books. This book is a 5-star read. Like, it is. Oh my god. It's so good, and it has you think, you know? It's not just like a passive, enjoyable little read. Like, no, it really makes you think, and it makes your heart sink. That was so crazy. That was really good though. That was a really good ending. That was so heavy, and I feel like I need to like pick up a lighter book, but I'm not gonna. You wanna know why? Sailor Jenkins Reid just came out with a new book, and she said this was the most heartbreaking one yet. Like, I know I need to read this now. It's gonna break my heart though more. I need to read a happy book. The Princess Bride. I don't know that I've even like talked about this book so far, but it's a happy book. Yeah, let's read this, and then I'll pick up this. I don't remember the last time I talked about The Princess Bride, but I know that I had a lot to talk about. The narrator of this book is so funny. He is so funny and makes this whole thing so enjoyable. He's always getting a laugh out of me. I love that the narration is also just like so strong and so obvious. Like, he has such a big personality and is like, this part's boring, so I'm gonna skip it. Basically, this, and this happened. It's like Olaf in Frozen. All the personality in here mixed with like the nostalgia I feel from knowing the story from the movie just mixes so well, and it just makes for a great book. This one definitely does not require near the amount of like emotional intelligence. It's definitely something that you can just like sit back and enjoy a little more. But that's exactly it. I'm really enjoying it. I have to say, my one complaint with this book so far is that chapter 5 is over 90 pages. Split it up, my guard. Split it up just a little bit. That's a bit, man. You can't ever do just one more chapter, and it's fine. No. 90 pages? It's a little ridiculous. That's a little long. But, like, the other chapters are not nearly as long, so I don't know why this one specifically is. Or I guess it's because he summarized the other chapters a lot more. Then chapter 6 is 60 pages. Come on, dude. I need the lightheartedness. I've just picked out heavy book after heavy book, and this will be uplifting for me. I'm gonna go be uplifted. I will chat later.
Go without fear, love without remorse. Your life in my hand, and mine in yours.
What up, baddies? Guess what I just did? I finished The Princess Bride, and let me tell you, it has been a hot minute since a book brought me this much joy. I loved every moment of reading this book. There is a big nostalgia aspect as to why I like this book so much. I think so much of it is because it is so similar to the movie, obviously written by the same person. The movie's based off of this. But like, the feeling I got from this was just like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was such an immense feeling of joy. I ended up reading quite a bit of it on my Kindle because this is just kind of bulky, and it was available at my library. There's a feeling like no other whenever you're looking for a book on Libby and then there's no holds. I get such a kick out of that. Anyway, it's honestly so good. The movie is so good. I'm currently rewatching the movie. It's on my TV right behind you. Do they have Funko Pops? That was really nerdy. They do. If you're somehow unfamiliar with The Princess Bride, I don't think I've said anything about what the book is actually about. It's about a bride-to-be that will be a queen. And there's kidnapping, torture, rodents of unusual size, giants, fencing. Okay, I'm gonna try not to like repeat anything. There's fighting, torture, poison, true love, hate, revenge, giants, hunters, bad men, good men, beautifulest ladies, snakes, spiders, beasts of all natures and descriptions. There is pain, death, brave men, coward men, strongest men, chases, escapes, lies, truths, passion, miracles. I stole that from Emma's review on Goodreads, by the way. It's the third review that pops up. So this is a fantasy book, and honestly, I'm like not even exaggerating. I think this is one of my all-time favorite books. It's so funny too, and you know what? The movie is funny. It is so hilarious. There are so many moments where it's like, oh, I'm probably gonna be like so embarrassed watching this back. Here's my impression of Inigo Montoya. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. The book and movie are just so incredibly similar. I mean, the book has a lot more detail, of course. There's also a lot of background on all the characters that sometimes you kind of miss out on when it comes to like movie adaptations. But it was really interesting like learning more about the characters I grew up loving. The ending is also different. I'm not gonna tell you what the ending is, of course, because no spoilers here. But it's different. That was kind of unexpected, but I didn't mind it at all. I liked it. There are just so many parts to the story. It's so entertaining, and I think everybody should read it. I expected to like this book, but I didn't think I'd love it so much. Now we're gonna move on to depression. This is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, the author of my favorite book. I have already read the first chapter. I did it at the auditorium when I was at the Taylor Jenkins Reid event. You know, like, no biggie, no biggie. I was in the same room from her in the third row. No biggie though, no biggie. But yeah, I did already read the first chapter, and I can already tell it's gonna break my heart, but it's okay. Let's get started.
Go without fear, love without remorse. Your life in my hand, and mine in yours.
I'm about to tell you some shocking information. That is, I am not a rocket scientist, quite literally. Parts of this are a bit hard to follow because I know nothing about space and I don't care to learn about space. The writing in here is incredible, which of course it is. It's Taylor Jenkins Reid. Like, can she do any wrong? I think the writing is really good, and I think I would really love this book if I cared more about space. I have no interest in going to space or studying space or anything about space or rockets or any of that. I'm trying really hard to be interested in what's going on here, but it's not really for me. I've seen movies about space. I've been forced to watch movies about space in film school, and let me tell you, they're boring. Gravity with Sandra Bullock and George Clooney. Oh, it was a hard watch. I mean, she's just floating through space the whole movie. It really just doesn't pique my interest, but I thought maybe this is Taylor Jenkins Reid. She wrote a book about tennis, and I don't like tennis, but I thought that book was amazing, so if she writes a book about space, I'm gonna like space. No. But seriously though, I went into this book with no knowledge of tennis and loved it. Like, this was so good. So why would this be any different, right? The main characters love space and they're so passionate about it and how they want to go up there someday, and I'm just like, I don't get it. I went to an Atmosphere event recently and she talked a lot about how much she loves the main character, Joan Goodwin. Joan Goodwin is very different from every other main character she's had because Joan Goodwin is nice. And this is like the first time Taylor Jenkins Reid has like focused a book on someone that is nice. I mean, besides like Nina Riva, but that whole family has stuff going on. Since Joan is so nice and she's a nerd, I find it to be a bit bland. She has a great life. Like, I will give it to her. She's making her dreams come true. But sometimes mean people make a great book. I yearn for drama, and Joan is a drama-free character. I yearn for a petty character. I yearn for a character that wants to be the best at everything and doesn't care how they get there, you know? Joan is just too good. And not in the way that you're like, oh my gosh, like this character is so good and so nice and I would do anything for this character. It's more so french fries with no salt and no dipping sauce. I feel really mean. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid with all my heart. Hearing her speak about this book brought a smile to my face. It was a magical moment, and I'm so sad I'm not loving this more. I think the writing truly is good. If Taylor Jenkins Reid was not the author of this book, I probably would not have picked it up, but I'm gonna like stick through, of course. I could never not stick through. I do have a lot of faith in her. I think this ending is probably gonna kill me because the first couple of chapters so incredibly sad right off the bat. It's like, there's like 2 timelines in here, and I should probably tell you what this book is about. That might be nice. I'm gonna try to repeat everything Taylor Jenkins Reid said about this book. It's about Joan Goodwin, of course, who is a female astronaut in the 1980s. She's sitting in like a control room at NASA with like a headset on, communicating with the love of her life who is in space. And then there's like an accident that goes up in space, and she has to like guide the love of her life to like come down from space. She has to guide the person to make their way safely to Earth. That is, of course, no small feat. She's like freaking out because this is like a really intense situation. It's really hard to do. And she's like the only one that has access to talk to the person in space. She's the only line of communication. And, I mean, it's the love of her life. You know about this tragedy really early on in the book. And it's really sad to read about. So much of that, like, makes me so sad reading it. I'm like, oh, really, already? Like, you can't be sad already. I am 122 pages into this book, so just over a third of the way through. There is still plenty of time for this book to turn around, though. And I have faith that it will. I think it's gonna turn around, and it's gonna make me kick my feet, it's gonna make me cry, and it's gonna make me feel every single emotion in between. I just thought of something else I wanted to say. My doctor once told me, you date to figure out what you don't like, not to figure out what you do like. Same thing about reading a book about space. I didn't know before picking up this book that I didn't like space. Like, maybe in the back of my head, I knew. But now that I'm reading it, I'm like, oh, why would you go up there willingly? Why? Like, yeah, it looks cool. You can see Earth. I guess that's pretty cool, seeing Earth. That would be like a pretty life-changing. But like, why would you do that knowing everything that could go wrong? Have they seen Gravity? It came out in 2013. Obviously they had not. People are probably thinking the same thing about like all the things that I do in my life. Like, why would you want to do that? Anyway, I have a lot more reading to do, so I'm gonna go do that. Like Joe Goldberg. Girl, sit down. Who is that? Oh my god, they're having a new baby. Now I'm 240 pages into Atmosphere, so I have about 90 left. I am liking it a lot more, and I think I'm reading it fairly quickly. Fairly quickly? That sounds not right. Fairly quick. I really like how Joan finds herself in this book. Like, she really figures out who she really is and what's really important to her, and I can really admire that. It's fun to see, especially since I thought Joan at the beginning was bland. I still think she's kind of bland, but she's a little less bland. She has a little bit of salt on her now. I really like the gender aspect in this book. I think it's really interesting to read about these women that are in a male-dominated industry, especially since it's a big thing. Like, are women too emotional to go to space? I'm probably too emotional to do it, but these women aren't. There's so much pressure on these women because they're the first to be doing so, and if they make a mistake, they're scrutinized a lot more than the men are. And that may be used against other women in the future, so they're like, we have to be perfect so that they'll let more women into space. It feels kind of silly that like some of these conversations still need to be had because this book takes place over 40 years ago. But what can you do? My dog is now panting, so that's my sign to go inside and finish this book. So I'm gonna go do that, and then I'll check back in. What?
What time Love Island?
9. Are you watching tonight?
Maybe. I heard there's a reshuffling or whatever.
A recoupling, yeah. Finished Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Is it sad? Yes. To be fair, though, I think all of her books are sad and I'm an empath. I will cry over like anything remotely sad. So, not to make it like a competition, but I think her other books made me cry more. Like, this is nothing. Come on. I have to say, there was like a line in here that made me like cackle out loud. It's when Joan is like describing her mother to someone. She's like, yeah, my mom's like kind of vanilla. And then the person responds with, if anyone said that about me, I'd murder them. And then Joan's like, yeah, I know. Yeah, I said that about Joan. I think she's still very vanilla and kind of boring. Ooh, she's an astronaut. That's a cool job. She's been to space. That's a cool job. But, like, come on, girl. Give us personality of a snail. I think that's still my biggest complaint is that she has no personality. So I didn't particularly care for her as much as I've cared for other characters in the past. She's not even my favorite character in the book. And that's kind of like, oh. I wouldn't say she's even top 5 for favorite characters in this book, and that's not good. I mean, you want the main character to be, like, a character that's very likable, right? Or extremely unlikable, but, like, you have, like, some sort of, like, connection to them, or, like, calling towards them. The story is good. The writing is good. And I feel guilty for not liking Joan, because Taylor Jenkins Reid is like, I love Joan Goodwin, and I hope everybody will love Joan Goodwin. I've been going back and forth on my rating between 3 and 3.5 stars, so I feel like I should just settle in between and do a 3.25. I think the story is good, I think the writing's good, and I like the side characters. So that's like a pretty good rating, right? I don't think 3.25 stars is like a bad rating by any means, but it's certainly not 5 stars, right? It's like kind of far. It's just kind of disappointing since I had such high hopes for this book. Well, I still think I read, like, good books in this video. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. If you would like, comment, and subscribe, I would very much appreciate it. I will see you at some point or another. Bye!